Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny with a really exciting update for you, a different kind of one than we've been having for a while now. Exciting things are coming because we are really entering into the process of reopening our building. And I want to tell you a few things. So our reopening team has been meeting over the past few weeks. We've been trying to keep up with and understand the many changes that have come through the CDC and the state's reopening guidelines and lifting the mask mandates in various situations and all the different things like that. Lots of stuff has been happening lately at a relatively dizzying pace, and so we're working hard, but there are some things that we are ready to share with you about what you can expect over the next several weeks and months. So the first really big, exciting thing is that starting July 4th, our sanctuary will be open to a maximum of 50 people for in-person worship at 10 o'clock on that Sunday morning, and the Sunday mornings to follow. Now, through the summer, we're going to be having kind of a soft opening, leading to kind of a bigger grand reopening in the fall. But what this soft opening means is some things like this. We're going to continue our live streamed Facebook and Vimeo website worship from now on. That's not just for the summer, but be assured that that's going to continue. We're not going to stop doing that. It's going to look a little different as time progresses, but it will still be there and will still be a high quality there. We are going to be asking for reservations for in-person worship, at least at first. I hope that we don't have to stay in that space, but at first we need to do that. And so you'll get some information about how to do that soon. It's likely that the maximum number of people who will be allowed into worship will increase. Our anticipation is that it will increase, and maybe quickly even, over the course of the summer. It may be gradual. We're going to have to see. There are lots of different factors here, of course, that we are weighing. The sanctuary and worship experience, especially for in-person worshipers, is going to be in transition. Now, right now, we have a pretty polished virtual way of worshiping. If you're in the sanctuary right now, it is very geared to virtual worship. And so over the course of the summer, we'll be transitioning to a polished hybrid version, which means that both in-person and virtual worshipers will get a full sense of worship that feels whole and feels like we know what we're doing and all those kinds of things. But there are going to be some rough edges for in-person worshipers at first. We decided we shouldn't wait until it's all polished before we let people come in and share some of this. While many protocols will be in place from the beginning, there are some processes that will be refined over time. Things like ushering and greeting, exactly what they're doing and how they do that. That's stuff that we're going to be living into over the next few weeks. That's part of that soft opening. Like traffic flow, how we take communion. These are things that we have a lot of ideas about, but we also need to put it into practice and make sure that it works well in reality, not just on paper. People will also be seeing improvements to the in-person worship experience every week by week, especially around technology. So we have to make some upgrades to our technology as it is to make it hybrid. We did a lot of work to make it all virtual, and now we have to do additional work to make it hybrid. And so we know what we have to do. We have a plan for that. We've already started purchasing the things that we need to purchase, but it takes some time. It takes some time to install, to implement, to perfect how we work it, to recruit and train volunteers. And if you remember how we moved into virtual worship, it took a few weeks to get the sound right and to get the way so you could see the words on the screen and all that kind of stuff. So we have to do that again, but we have to do that so that both things are happening well. It's not the technology we had in the sanctuary before the pandemic isn't what we can go back to. We have to have some additional stuff. Okay, so soft opening all through the summer, leading to what we hope will be, assuming all things keep going as they are, and improving in regard to the pandemic, The grand reopening would be our fall kickoff, which is always the Sunday after Labor Day. So that would be September 12th. So that's what we're aiming for. We will celebrate that day in some bigger ways, including fully hybrid worship with our polish procedures and readiness to welcome as many people as possible at once. Okay, so a few things about what to expect around protocols and procedures. Again, this will all be presented to you in more clear, like followable ways. I'm just kind of giving you a preview, an announcement, a heads up today. But masks will continue to be required for most church events out of compassion and inclusion. Remember that there are people among us who have not been vaccinated, including children and others for various reasons. That's really important to keep remembering. We also are located on a busy street where many people come in that we don't know, and that's a beautiful thing. And we need to have compassion and inclusion for all people who want to worship with us. For distancing, instead of a standard 6-foot kind of thing, we are going to implement what we're calling a stoplight procedure, stoplight approach. I'm going to invite you to watch for more information about that. It's too much to explain right here, but there will be a way that each person will have a quick and easy way of expressing your needs and your comfort level around distancing and contact. So you'll hear more about that as we go along. There will also be a reduction in shared items like offering plates and hymnals and food. We're going to have a traffic flow that will invite you to come in one door and out another, so you won't come in all doors as you used to. Singing will continue to be done primarily by a few designated singers. Our children's information is coming soon, so we're still working on like what we're actually going to be doing through the summer and even what we're doing in the fall. So stay tuned for that, but that's a whole area that we're focusing on and having to do some more work around. So stay tuned if you've got children, what will be offered and available for them through the summer and then into the fall. Our fellowship time, which we might have known before as coffee hour. Fellowship time is coffee hour without the coffee. We'll do that after the service held outdoors as weather permits. Okay, so other reopening news over the next few weeks. Our church office is going to resume its regular office hours, public office hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Watch for the exact date of that, but that's coming. Our small groups and ministry teams will have the option to meet in person at the church. But there will also continue to be Zoom or phone options for most groups. Different groups operate differently and have different preferences, but we know that for many, we've actually had amazing attendance at our ministry team meetings and small group meetings because people have been able to join through Zoom and can join from wherever they are. So that option is not going to go away, but there will be some differences depending on the groups. Outside groups and events who typically use our building for meetings will be invited back into our spaces. Again, that's there's a lot of work that has to go into that and revising contracts and many things, but that'll start. Our building will start to come back to life some here over the next few weeks. So there are some things that you can do to help. So I ask you to help us out with a number of things. And the first thing is to pray, to keep praying for our church community, our staff, our reopening team, all of our leaders who are making this transition. This is just as big a transition as it was going into the pandemic. In some ways, it might even be harder because then we're just thrust into it. And this requires a little more thought and a little more work. And it's not as an emergency in the same way. So pray for us as we keep making decisions and keep making decisions with not often enough information, frankly. I ask you to help by continuing to have compassion and awareness of others. There are still many who are not vaccinated. There are, including our children, of course. There are people at every comfort level, every level of risk tolerance. Where you are in this is not where everyone is. And so the more we can understand that and have compassion for one another, the better, the stronger our community will be. You can help by continuing to help us answer the question, what's best for our Princeton UMC community, given our vision, mission, and values? This is a values and mission and vision driven set of actions that we're taking. And it's important that we are leading with those things. You can help us by continuing to think and act as a community more than individually. This is hard for everyone. We are programmed to think individually in this culture. And so I invite you to continue to have trust and to think, again, with compassion and inclusion. Continue to trust that you and everyone else is enough because God is enough. I invite you to have patience. I ask you to have patience with us and offer grace as we continue to work through the challenges, and there are many. You can help by encouraging your staff and volunteer leaders, particularly as they both work really hard to make all these changes happen, and as they take some time off. All of our staff are scheduled to have vacation this summer and to rest and be renewed, and they all need that. And that's going to affect the pace at which we can move as well. You can also help by sharing your expertise, your knowledge, your ideas about what your companies or organizations or the groups that you're participating in outside of church have discovered to be best practices. Many of the ideas that have helped shape some of this have come from things that we're not just making it all up on our own. Some things we are, but many things we're getting from other places as well. So you can help in all these ways, and we'd love to hear from you. Again, watch for more specific information about how you sign up for worship and what the exact protocols will be. It's all coming, but I wanted you at least to know this as soon as possible. Blessings to you all. I can't wait to see you all and worship with you in person more and more and more. Blessings.